14 seconds. That's how long it took. And the funny part? He spent the first 3 seconds laughing. 14 seconds. That was the official time. Unofficially, Captain Jonathan Keene insisted the first 3 seconds didn't count, because the Warlord was still laughing. The Galactic Council's Grand Combat Arena had seen duels that shaped empires. Some lasted hours, some days. Today's event was predicted to be entertaining, the way a carnivore might find a squirrel entertaining. That squirrel, apparently, was Earth. The stands were a mosaic of species: insectoid cliques clicking antennae, reptilian warriors flexing claws, avian diplomats craning necks for a better view. Every screen and lens was fixed on the sandy ring below. Alien commentators buzzed in multiple languages, their voices dripping with anticipation for a slaughter. And representing the Terran Alliance, the announcer boomed in a dozen translated tones: Captain Jonathan Keene, human. Polished black boots tapped the arena floor. Keene stepped into the open, posture relaxed, uniform crisp enough to cut glass. No armor. No heavy weapons. Just a slim sidearm holstered at his hip and a stainless steel thermos in hand. He unscrewed the lid, poured coffee into the cap, and took a sip as though arriving late to a Sunday brunch. From the stands, a low ripple of disbelief moved through the crowd. Zil-Ra, the insectoid tactician in the VIP box, tilted her triangular head toward her lizard-like companion. "He's smiling," she noted, voice sharp. Vortok snorted, exposing rows of serrated teeth. Smiling mammals are nervous mammals. Keene strolled to the center, scanning the crowd with friendly curiosity. "Big turnout," he said toward the microphone pinned to his collar. "Hope you didn't sell tickets too cheap." A hush swept over the arena as the air shifted. He had arrived. Grakthor emerged from the northern gate, a living fortress of armor plates, scar tissue, and weaponry. His boots sank into the sand with each step. A massive war axe rested on one shoulder, its blade etched with kill marks. Every movement broadcast lethal confidence. "Human," Grakthor growled, voice like stone grinding on stone. "You will fall, and your people will remember this day in chains." Keene nodded politely, extending his free hand. "Jonathan Keene. Pleasure to meet you." Grakthor's eyes narrowed at the gesture, but he accepted the handshake, then flinched. Keene's grip was firm, not crushing, but there was a weight in it. An assurance. The Warlord pulled back first. "Your species is weak," Grakthor declared for the crowd. "You live soft lives on a soft world. Today." Keene cut in gently. "Do you want this to be formal, or should we skip to the part where you run at me screaming?" A murmur of amusement rolled through the human delegation. Most aliens missed the humor entirely. The duel's referee, a floating drone, descended between them. "Combatants ready?" Keene took another sip of coffee. "Ready." Grakthor's nostrils flared. "Ready." The drone's light flashed green. Second 1 to 3, Grakthor roared and surged forward, sand exploding under his boots. His axe swung in a murderous arc, meant to cleave the human in half. Keene stepped aside, not hurried, just absent. The axe cut only air. Coffee didn't spill. Second 4 to 7, Keene's left hand caught the haft of the axe near the head. A twist, a pull, and the weapon wrenched free. He flipped it end over end and dropped it outside the ring. The crowd gasped. Grakthor swung a gauntlet fist. Keene ducked, palm striking the Warlord's ribs. 3 precise impacts that made metal dent. Second 8 to 10, a knee to the back of the leg dropped the Warlord to one knee. Keene moved behind him, hooking an arm under his and applying a subtle torque. Armor joints strained, locking the Warlord's arm against his own chest. Second 11 to 14, Keene swept Grakthor's remaining leg and sent him face first into the sand. A sharp tap to the helmet side released the emergency seal. Air hissed. Grakthor went still. Silence blanketed the arena. Keene crouched, setting his coffee on the Warlord's back as though it were a table. He stood, dusting sand from his uniform, and addressed the referee. "Is that it, or do we get a rematch? I've got another cup in the thermos." For a moment, the entire arena simply stared. Then the scoreboard flickered. Winner, Captain Jonathan Keene, Terran Alliance. Time, 14.02 seconds. Gasps, clicks, growls, and disbelieving whistles rose from the stands. Zillarae's antennae trembled. Vortok's jaw worked silently. Keene bent, lifted his coffee, and walked toward the human delegation's gate. "Pleasure doing business," he called over his shoulder. "Let's do lunch sometime." In the VIP box, Zillarae's multifaceted eyes stayed locked on the human until he disappeared into the tunnel. "That was not luck," she murmured. Vortok scoffed. He caught the Warlord off guard. "Next time." "There will be no next time," Zillarae interrupted. "Not for anyone who fights him the same way." Backstage, the human delegation bustled with quiet energy. The ambassador, silver-haired, grandmotherly, but with a gaze that could strip paint, met Keene at the tunnel's end. "Well done, Jonathan," she said. "You didn't even spill your drink." "Coffee's more important than victory," Keene replied. "But I'll take both." Dr. Miri Chen, leaning against the wall with a datapad, glanced up. "You ended it fast." "Warlord wasn't my type," Keene said. "Besides, the real work starts now." Chen's brow rose, but she didn't press. She knew better than to dig where Keene wasn't ready to talk. Out in the stands, alien media channels scrambled to replay the match from every angle. Commentators struggled to fill airtime with theories, human reflexes, hidden technology, illegal enhancements. None explained the efficiency. One reporter finally put it bluntly on air. If a human can do that in 14 seconds, what could a human fleet do in 14 hours? Later, alone in his prep room, Keene set his thermos on the table and keyed a small device in his pocket. A faint green light blinked once, twice, then steady. Somewhere far beyond the arena, cloaked ships received the signal. He smiled, not the warm, easy smile from the duel, but something sharper. Calculated. That should get their attention. The official duel footage hit every comm channel in the galaxy within an hour. By the second hour, it was slowed down, dissected frame by frame, annotated with diagrams that only made the outcome seem stranger. Keene's movements looked effortless. No wasted energy, no flashy aggression. Just precision. Every motion had a reason, every pause an opening that lasted less than a heartbeat. It was the kind of efficiency predators used when the hunt was already decided. In the VIP observation deck, Zillarae replayed the fight again, mandibles tight. "It wasn't speed alone," she said, running the holographic playback at a crawl. Beside her, Vortok leaned on the rail, arms crossed. "You're seeing patterns because you want to." The Warlord stumbled. "No," Zillarae cut in. He was led. Step by step. The human dictated the fight before it began. She closed the file and turned to face him. "If one of them can do this, then the rest can't be far behind," Vortok finished reluctantly. Below them, the arena crew dragged heavy equipment across the sand, sweeping up the last traces of the duel as though they could erase the memory. Back in the Terran delegation's quarters, the atmosphere was strangely casual. Keene had swapped his uniform jacket for a plain black shirt, boots still dusty from the ring. He sat at the table with Dr. Miri Chen, flipping through alien news feeds on a shared datapad. "Human ends duel in record time." Chen read aloud, scrolling. "Or my favorite, was it legal?" Experts divided. Keene smirked. "We'll get a dozen conspiracy theories before dinner. Probably some involving cybernetics or mind control." "Wouldn't be far from the truth if they knew what you just signaled," Chen said quietly. The ambassador entered without knocking, her steps measured. "The council wants a statement. And they want it now." Keen set the datapad aside. Do they want me polite, or persuasive? Polite, she said. Persuasive comes later. The Galactic Council's press hall was a wall of light and noise. Dozens of species clustered with translators, recorders, and streaming devices ready. Keen stepped up to the podium, posture loose, gaze warm. First, I'd like to thank the Council for hosting today's duel, he began. It was an honor to represent the Terran Alliance, and I hope the outcome doesn't discourage future, friendly competitions. A scaled reporter barked a question in a language the translator rendered as, "Was this luck, or are all humans this dangerous?" Keen smiled faintly. That's hard to say. We don't keep a chart of who's dangerous and who's not. Where I'm from, we just try not to find out the hard way. More questions followed, about training, about weaponry, about whether Earth had intended to humiliate the Warlord. Keen answered each with the same polite evasions, every sentence gentle enough to avoid outright alarm but edged with something the sharper listeners caught. Zil-Ra, watching from the back, caught it. The human's words were a dance, every joke, every pause, a reminder that his victory wasn't an accident. Hours later, in a private conference chamber lit by the faint blue glow of the system's twin moons, Zil-Ra approached the Terran ambassador. Your champion is unusual, she said without preamble. The ambassador poured tea from a delicate ceramic pot. Humans are unusual, Commander. That's part of our charm. And part of your strategy? Zil-Ra asked. The ambassador's eyes crinkled in a smile, but her voice carried no warmth. Our strategy is survival. We've just learned to make it look friendly. Zil-Ra considered that, her antennae twitching. The duel wasn't just about the hyperspace lane, was it? It was exactly about the lane, the ambassador replied. Everything else is just a bonus. By night cycle, the duel had sparked political aftershocks across 3 sectors. On the capital world of the Threx Dominion, a military council convened in secret. On the merchant hub of Koro Prime, insurance rates for freighters passing near human space tripled overnight. Even on neutral worlds, the whispers spread. Humans could not be measured by the same scale as others. In his quarters, Keen brewed another pot of coffee, the sharp scent cutting through the recycled air. Chen sat at the small table, scrolling through a secure channel. You've got half the galaxy arguing about whether you're the most dangerous man alive, she said. Keen poured 2 mugs, sliding one toward her. Let them argue. While they're busy, we move. Her eyes lifted. You've already got them in motion, haven't you? He didn't answer, just sipped. In the diplomatic wing, Vortok met with 2 of his own kind. They spoke in low tones, the guttural consonants nearly masked by the hum of the building's ventilation. He's not a warrior in the way we understand it, Vortok said. He fights like someone solving a puzzle. That makes him worse, his comrade replied. You can predict a warrior. You can't predict someone who treats you like a problem to be solved. The council chamber convened again at dawn cycle. Delegates traded formal greetings laced with suspicion. The duel was supposed to settle a border dispute quietly. Instead, it had rattled the balance of power. When the Terran ambassador entered, she was all graciousness, acknowledging each delegate by name. Keen followed at a measured pace, every step deliberate. His expression said nothing, and that was exactly what unsettled them. Zil-Ra leaned toward Vortok. Watch him, she murmured. I am, Vortok replied. I just wish I knew what I was looking for. That evening, in the quiet of the human delegation's war room, a holomap flickered to life. The disputed hyperspace lane glowed faint blue. Around it, tiny green markers appeared, human ships, cloaked, positioned exactly where they could intercept any hostile fleet. Chen studied the map. You had them in place before the duel? Keen nodded. The duel was the cover. They watched me, they didn't watch the lane. And if someone moves first? Then they'll find out, Keen said, how long 14 seconds can really be. By the end of the cycle, the duel had become more than a spectacle. It was a message. The galaxy just hadn't agreed yet on what the message meant. Some saw it as a warning. Others, an invitation. And a few, like Zil-Ra, understood that humans rarely did anything without a second layer. The duel's shock was fading. What replaced it was worse: curiosity. Curiosity made governments send spies. It made fleets reposition. And it made ambitious commanders think they could test the limits of a human. Keen saw it in the subtle changes around the council station. Patrol routes adjusted. Dock inspections grew longer. The usual background hum of alien chatter in the corridors carried new tones, words clipped, glances sharper. That was fine. Attention, if handled correctly, was just another weapon. In the Terran war room, the holomap had shifted. The faint blue line of the disputed hyperspace lane now glowed brighter, and the green dots, Earth's cloaked ships, were moving into a tighter net. Dr. Miri Chen stood with arms crossed. They've sent 6 scout ships toward the lane. 3 different flags, none of them official. Keen leaned against the table, sipping coffee as the lights reflected in his eyes. Scouts are polite. It means they still think they have time. And when they don't, then we'll introduce them to efficiency. The ambassador entered, a folder in hand, not for necessity, but for the theater of it. The council has approved a friendly exhibition match between you and several of their champions tomorrow, she said. Purely cultural exchange, they claim. Keen gave a half smile. And purely reconnaissance, I'd bet. Fine. We'll give them something to write home about. The training arena the next day was quieter than the duel had been. No grandstands, just a circle of sand under harsh lights. 6 alien champions of varying sizes waited, each armed, each chosen for a different fighting style. Keen stepped in unarmed. Vortok, present as an observer, frowned. He's going to be torn apart. Zil-Ra didn't answer. Her antennae shifted minutely as she watched. The whistle blew. The first attacker, a 4-armed brute, charged. Keen sidestepped, using the momentum to flip the alien into the sand without striking. A second, a sleek predator with mirrored claws, lunged from the side. Keen ducked, seized the claw wrist, and twisted until joints popped. Within 90 seconds, all 6 champions were on the ground, breathing hard, weapons scattered. Keen hadn't drawn blood. Good match, he said, dusting his hands. Same time next week? Vortok stared. That wasn't fighting. That was disassembly. Exactly, Zil-Ra murmured. Later, in the council dining hall, Keen sat alone at a corner table, calmly working through a plate of something most species considered inedible. Zil-Ra approached, sliding into the seat opposite. You could have ended each of them in seconds, she said. Keen swallowed, sipped his coffee, and set the cup down with deliberate care. Wouldn't have been polite. Politeness isn't a shield for what you are. He met her gaze, smile still in place. No. But it makes a fine lure. Zil-Ra leaned in. This duel, these exhibitions. You're moving something into place. What is it? He glanced at the crowd in the hall, then back to her. Commander, you seem like the kind of person who knows that not all traps are built to catch prey. Some are built to keep predators out. Her mandibles clicked softly. And in your view, which are you? Keen's smile widened just enough to show teeth. I'm the one who builds the traps. While the station slept in its artificial night cycle, small freighters under human registry slipped quietly through the periphery of the hyperspace lane. Inside their holds were not trade goods, but components, shield generators, stealth arrays, and station modules. Piece by piece, the lane was becoming more than a trade route. It was becoming a fortress. In the war room, Chen watched the incoming reports. If anyone scans the lane now, they'll see movement. Let them, Keen replied. Half of strategy is letting them see what you want, when you want. She studied him for a moment. You enjoy this, don't you? He shrugged. I enjoy winning. The rest is just the path you take to get there. The council met again 2 days later, the air in the chamber tense. Reports had reached them of human maintenance vessels operating dangerously close to the border. Delegates traded accusations across the floor. Keen sat beside the ambassador, expression neutral. He only spoke when addressed directly. A crystalline diplomat from the Rel sector fixed him with a cold stare. Captain Keen, are your people militarizing the disputed lane? Keen tilted his head. We are maintaining it. A functioning lane benefits everyone. And if it becomes a military corridor? He smiled faintly. Then I suppose it will benefit fewer people. The room stilled at the casual delivery of the line. That night, Zil-Ra called a private meeting with Vortok in the observation tower overlooking the docking bays. They're preparing for something, she said. Then we prepare as well, he replied. No. Not in the same way. If we build for war, we play their game. And I think they've been playing it longer than anyone realizes. She gestured out at the bays, where human ships came and went with quiet efficiency. They're not moving randomly. Every docking, every launch, coordinated. They're weaving a net, and the duel was their signal to start. Vortok's tail twitched. So what do we do? Stay very, very still, Zil-Ra said, until we know whether that net is meant to catch prey, or keep something much worse contained. Back in the human quarters, Keen reviewed a final data packet. A blinking green marker appeared on the holomap, the last piece of the formation in place. Chen looked over his shoulder. All ships in position. Lane coverage is complete. Good, Keen said. He tapped a key, locking the formation in the system's database. Now we wait. For them. For everyone, he replied. The ambassador entered, her usual calm intact. The council's mood is shifting. Some are frightened. Some want treaties. Others are calling for preemptive strikes. Keen leaned back in his chair. They can choose whichever makes them sleep at night. The end result will be the same. And what's that? Chen asked. Keen's smile returned. Measured, precise. They'll learn not to test how far we'll go. The war room aboard the Ardent Resolve was silent, the kind of silence that had weight. Dozens of alien observers, diplomats, tacticians, and military leaders stood in the gallery, each one craning to glimpse the arena feed projected above the central table. At the far end stood Earth's champion, Commander Ilara Vance. The human was in no armor, no ornate battle gear, just the standard-issue navy blue field suit, sleeves neatly rolled to mid-forearm. She looked like she was here to file paperwork, not fight the galaxy's most feared warlord. Where's her weapon? A three-eyed Carthan envoy whispered. She is the weapon, muttered a voice behind him. The arena announcer's voice boomed over the comms. Champion Croxer the Unyielding, Breaker of Worlds, Slayer of the Spine Wolves, versus Ilara Vance of Earth. The alien warlord entered first, a mountain of scaled muscle draped in armor forged from the wreckage of conquered ships. His presence carried a physical pressure, like the air itself wanted to step aside. In one clawed hand, he carried a plasma war axe that had split dreadnought hulls in half. His growl echoed through the arena, promising violence. Ilara smiled politely. Good morning, she said, as though greeting a neighbor in a coffee shop. Croxer snarled. You are unarmed. Technically so are you, she said, glancing at his axe. That's just a very aggressive conversation starter. A few aliens in the gallery exchanged looks. Was she mocking him? Or was this some kind of human psychological warfare? The announcer's voice. Combatants, engage. Second 1. Croxer charged with the momentum of an avalanche. His axe came down in a killing arc. Second 2. Ilara stepped aside, not rushing, just enough for the blade to hit air. Her eyes stayed locked on him, calm and measuring. Second 3. She said, "Nice form. Do you warm up before a fight, or just go straight for the cardiac risk?" Second 4. He spun, swinging from the side. She ducked, hand brushing the ground for balance. Second 5. Her right hand moved in a blur, attaching something to his armor. A disc, small and almost invisible. Second 6. Croxer's third strike was blocked, not with strength, but with timing. She twisted his grip just enough to throw his momentum off. Second 7. She stepped back, letting him roar and swing again. Second 8. The disc beeped once. Second 9. The Warlord froze, eyes wide, as his armor seized and locked. Second 10. Ilara leaned close. Nanite-based adaptive EMP. Custom frequency. Learned it from watching your fleet chatter. Second 11. His axe clattered to the ground. Second 12. She tapped her earpiece. Control, the big guy's gift-wrapped. Second 13. The arena shields dropped. The Ardent Resolve's transporter beam shimmered into existence. Second 14. Croxer was gone, ripped out of the arena and straight into a containment cell. Silence. Then, uproar. The gallery erupted into shouting in dozens of languages. Half the aliens were demanding to know if that was even legal. The others were whispering the same thought: if this was Earth's champion, what were their soldiers like? Ilara brushed invisible dust from her sleeve and stepped out of the arena. Her face was calm, but her eyes flickered with something harder, a look predators shared when they'd already planned the next hunt. The war room doors closed behind her, sealing out the chaos. Admiral Hawthorne was waiting, hands clasped behind his back. "You kept it under 15 seconds, he said. "You told me to be quick," she replied. The alien delegation leaders burst in seconds later, demanding explanations. The Cothan ambassador slammed his claw on the table. That was not combat, it was subterfuge. Ilara tilted her head. "You mean strategy? That's a human thing. We prefer not to get hit in the face if we can help it." The Alari diplomat's frilled neck trembled. Why capture Croxer? Why not kill him? She smiled faintly. Because live prisoners can talk. And he knows where the rest of his fleet is hiding. That's when the room went quiet, not just silent, but frozen. Because everyone realized at once, this hadn't been a duel. It had been a trap. Hawthorne stepped forward. "By now, our ships have already engaged Croxer's hidden forces. The moment he entered the arena, our signals intelligence tagged every ship in his command. Their comms went dark 10 seconds ago." A Zarn envoy's voice trembled. "You planned this from the beginning?" Ilara's eyes found his. "From before the challenge was even issued." 3 hours later, the galaxy's news feeds were aflame. Croxer's fleet was gone, silent wreckage drifting in the void. Every one of his lieutenants had been captured or neutralized. The human champion gave exactly one interview. She was asked how she'd beaten the Warlord so quickly. She smiled for the camera, all charm. "Oh, that? Just good time management." But in the command logs of the Ardent Resolve, her personal note read, 14 seconds is generous. Next time, 10.